Hello, I'm Bob Rosenblatt, editor of HelpWithAging.com, and I'm here with Louis Tennenbaum, CEO of Home Renewed, and we're going to talk about the necessity for people to get their houses in shape and the difficulty of doing it.
Hi, Bob. It's nice to be talking with you about this. The issue is that the population, houses that we live in now, 100 million houses that people will probably are living in, many people, the bulk of them will live there throughout their lives. That's what they prefer to do. And now the healthcare system and many other things are converging on the idea that home is really the best place to get health care. You don't pick up diseases there, you're happier there, and so forth. The problem is our housing stock was really designed well before people got to be as old as they do now. So the post-war housing boom starting in 1950, life expectancy was below 70 or 71. Now that people are 79 and on to 85 and 90, the condition of houses has really changed in respect to people's actual physical needs and conditions. Now, you could suggest that people remodel their home because it's a good idea, but nobody ever really does anything that's a good idea. In fact, people do things when they typically have some financial incentive to do so. So Homes Renewed is about advocacy on behalf of a wide range of constituent stakeholders to influence people to adapt their homes before they need it. Two reasons not to do it when you need it. One, your life is in kaflooey when you have just come out of the hospital and been discharged. And second of all, the interaction of the discharge planning process, which pushes you out of the hospital as soon as possible, even before you're ready, does not line up with the remodeling process at all. And besides that, if you don't remodel your house until after you've fallen down, you've missed out on the opportunity to use the remodeling of your house as an opportunity to avoid the fall. So you miss out on prevention completely if you wait. That's the two good reasons. One, it's a bad time, and two, it doesn't allow prevention. Now, then how do you influence people? Because if you say to you, Bob, or even to me, wow, you're remodeling your house, you should do it in this way that's really good for frail older people, you're going to avoid me completely. You're just not going to take advantage of the situation. And that means we have to move it way back and get people to do it when they're remodeling. And hey, that's a really good opportunity because people over 55, our target, do half of the remodeling in the country, probably around $130 billion a year. So if just 5% of them remodeled their homes in the way we're talking about, that would be a $6 billion investment in housing that's homes that people are already living in, their most important investment. They own it, they love it, they want to stay there, and it's the healthiest place for them to age.
Now give me some examples. What should they be doing? I've heard about, an elevator lift if you're really in bad shape, but what other things should you do before you need it?
Well, you want to reduce or safen the stairs at the entry, put a light in, get rid of the stairs if possible. We do a lot of houses where we just redo the landscaping, and that allows us to eliminate the steps at the front door. So now you don't have to walk up and down those steps. Now, if your lift comes and you're in a wheelchair and you can get around the house in your wheelchair, you can get out to that lift. But at the same time, if you want to wheel your groceries in, or maybe you're getting a new refrigerator, that can be wheeled in too. So that's one, getting in and out, maneuvering around the house, which includes lighting, doorways, widen the doorways, open up the spaces, improve and increase the lighting. Not a lot of lighting, because that might cause glare, but improve the lighting. And then, of course, the bedroom and bathroom want to be places where you can get to the use of the storage there and all the activities you do, getting in and out of bed, getting in and out of your clothes, tub, shower, and sink without a lot of maneuvering difficulties. So widen those spaces, make them easier to get to, make the shower one or tub one that doesn't have a curb or step to get into that might trip you up when you're going in or when you're going out. Your kitchen can have some easier appliance locations and easier counter heights and so forth. The places where you entertain people, television, reading, entertaining people, those are important. Where you sort and do your mail and maybe sort your pills and pay your bills and stuff like that. And then also enjoying the outdoors. So do you have a porch that you can sit on out of the sun? Or do you have a deck that is always in the sun when you want to be out there and it's an uncomfortable place because it's too hot, or there's too many bugs when it's cold at night, or when it's hot at night?
Now, can you do all this so that it doesn't scream, this is a house of an old person? Can you do the things you're talking about without it being so obvious that it's for old people?
That's the great question, and the answer is yes, of course. I want to say I wouldn't be involved if everything I do isn't magazine worthy. So it can be attractive. There's beautiful tile that has high coefficient of frictions. All the tile is different. The main thing we're doing is changing some details about the way things interrelate. So we want a floor that doesn't have a step into it. And this is really kind of what we call a Euro shower, because many bathrooms in Europe and other parts of the world don't have curbs into the shower. It's an American invention. And it's really not necessary. It's just a wee bit of change. Once you explain to the uninitiated contractor that you want to do it that way, or provide them a drawing or detail in the right hardware, it's absolutely no problem. So appearances are unrelated, except that the sort of maneuvering issues lend themselves to open floor plans, which are also interesting and attractive.
So let's say I want to do this. Are we talking about spending a lot of money? Let's say someone is 75, starting to have health problems. They're still in the house they bought 40 years ago. Are we talking about spending a fortune or a reasonable amount of money to do all of the desirable things you've talked about?
Well, first of all, you don't have to have health problems to be doing it. Anybody who's remodeling their home should be doing it, because this is our housing infrastructure, and these valuable ideas will last even beyond your use of the house, whether you move out by choice or forced or health, or just because you want to move someplace else. But more importantly, it's what the other costs are. So a fall costs $30,000. $29,000 is the average cost of a fall that hits the hospital. If we install 100 grab bars at $300 each, and one person avoids a fall, that's a break-even investment on the whole. But for you independently, if you spend $10,000 on your house doing some of the things I'm talking about, and you avoid 1 month in a nursing home or rehab facility, that's a break-even investment for you or for Medicare. So I'm not only advocating that you do it, I'm advocating that we as a society take upon us the issue that we're living longer. The gift of longevity we've paid for by funding NIH. Now let's just fund places for people to live out those lives with dignity, economically and healthfully, in the homes they love. To answer your question very specifically, bath remodeling ranges from, a few $100s for grab bars to, depending on the materials you choose, 10, 15, you can spend $30,000 or $40,000. It's kind of like the question about cars. Mercedes and Toyotas come red, and they come small, and the range is from 25,000 to 65,000.
You and I have discussed this over the years. It seems obvious, why not get a deduction for this? If I'm spending a ton of money on drugs, I get a tax deduction. It's after you spent a lot of your adjusted gross income. Why not get a tax deduction for health improvements? Why is it so hard to get it done?
I'm not sure that it's hard, other than everything is hard now politically. But I think the issue is it just hasn't come up. It hasn't been advocated. That's why I've started this organization, Homes Renewed, because we need advocates for specifically this issue. You get a break right now on your health insurance if you don't smoke. You get a break on your car insurance if you drive pretty well. You get a break on your homeowner's insurance if you have an alarm system. Why shouldn't you get a break on your health or long-term care insurance if you've invested the money to make it safer and will probably save whoever the payer is some money?
So that would be a federal thing. How about the states? Do any states give you a deduction now?
There are some state programs that are primarily focused on issues such as health, poor health, and poverty. So part of the problem with states versus federal is that states primarily pay for Medicaid, where the federal government pays for Medicare. So Medicaid indicates that you've paid down your assets and fallen into poverty, and we don't want you to do that, and you don't want to do it either. And then they primarily pay for nursing homes. So long-term care isn't really covered by the federal government now. However, and through the miracle of leverage, an incentive isn't the same as reimbursement. So if we can leverage people to do this by giving them an incentive, then the break that they get through that incentive may be or probably will be covered by Medicare savings.
And that gives them a reason to do. Well, let's keep in touch because I know your fight has gone on and will continue for years to come. Thank you.
I hope not too many years. I'm getting older, just as you are.